So, in this video, I've decided that I'm going to be focusing in on the bathroom sink design for the museum and the physical space. And these, uh, I'm just going to focus on two major components, which are the sink faucet handles and the sink basin. And, these, at so far at this point in time, this is what I feel confident in and feel most, uh, like I truly think that this is what's going to end up in the final, um, building. But, I'm always open to alternatives. Um, and flexible about other brands or ideas. So first, I'm just going to start off with this photograph. Let's see. I have a pointer here. I'll zoom in for easier um, viewing. So this little epitaph is just describing my commentary about this overall photograph of a bathroom that was designed in a Harlem, somewhere in Harlem. I don't know the building exactly, but Harlem, NYC. So I love it. It reminds me of all these other kinds of designs I've seen. It's very kind of like Pinterest aesthetic, if you know what I mean. But it's what I'm going for. And um so I'll take you through some of the details that I really enjoy, and I'll go from there. So, the first thing is the hexagonal tiles. And I think I first started falling in love with hexagonal tiles about like a couple years ago or so. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a trend that I started noticing or the trend has been growing since. But in any case, I love the idea of hexagonal tiles. Um, and I really want to find a way of incorporating it. Also love other shapes as well, but hexagonal tiles definitely has to um make make a make a show or make an appearance, so you will. Um, and I also feel like this is similar to how I felt about Peter Pan colors around fall 2011. At least in the summer before that season, I was thinking to myself, I didn't tell anyone this. I was like, I feel like Peter Pan colors are going to be huge. They're so cute. And like that could really, freshen up the like um, fashion styles around me. And, fall 2011 was when I started college. I was a freshman. And, soon after I had that thought, I started seeing Peter Pan colors everywhere. And like kind of like that mod style started taking off. So like mod vintage. So I don't know if it was just me. It probably wasn't. It was probably what some people call the collective consciousness. But anyways, that's my little thing about hexagonal tiles. Also, the bronze fixtures are what I truly enjoy, or gold, but I think it's more appropriate to call this bronze. I think that's what they're called. And I love how simple and elegant they are. Um, as well as very solid in craftsmanship. Might have to consider like different temperature ways to accommodate like different um temperatures of water and gradations. So for one thing, I love a rain shower head. I think there's something very luxurious about the feeling of a rain shower head. I've experienced it myself, perhaps in two different settings, like one in a higher upper end sort of apartment setting, and then one in a very low cost hostel setting. And I still feel like there's something very like I don't know, like romantic about it, something. But I know that lots of people enjoy, or some people like different shower head settings, like the multiple options. So I'll have to think about it. But that's that. Like, here's another um fixture. I think that could also provide some variation. Um, There's some shower hooks, a towel bar, and another thing that I love about this design is the minimal background that accommodates all the warm tones and helps kind of provide a neutral palette, a soothing, warm color scheme throughout. And um, it really provides a nice canvas, I think, for all the elements to kind of pop up in the background and the foreground. I also enjoy the use of negative space. So this idea of like an inset shelf going into a space kind of with the rounded um edges here, and there's like a softness that is added in contrast to the gold. Kind of there's a bit of a harder element there. So the last thing I want to focus on in this photograph is the idea of natural light coming in through um, for the user of the bathroom. And I love the idea of like bathing in natural light, but also not having to worry about privacy, like someone peeking in. So maybe a skylight could be something to be considered. I also love the idea of like having plants inside as well as, or even like hanging plants, I know was a trend that I really loved, that I found on Pinterest. Obviously, you want to consider like not having mold and like spores grow, but like bathroom friendly plants, So that's kind of a general exploration of this photo that is serving as one inspiration, a general inspiration. Okay, so moving on. So the next two big items I'm going to talk about are the faucets and then the sinks. So faucets, um, I so far my most favorite one that I've found is Kohler's Purest Wall Mount Bathroom Sink Faucet in vibrant brushed modern brass. So you can see a screenshot I've um, taken and pasted here. And you can click into the link and see that this will take us directly to the actual website of Kohler itself. And there are different finishes. I really think, like, I was considering Vibrant, ooh, vibrant French gold, but it looks too shiny to me. It's like too blindingly, like vibrant. And I think it could be, I don't know if this is something that would really want in a uh contemporary healing arts spa experience. I really do like um this brushed, like a kind of more muted gold brass kind of situation. These are all fine. And that is this isn't to say that any of these are not desirable. I think one has to think, as in all cases, holistically and how individual elements serve the overall design. Um, so yeah, I chosen Kohler because to me, at least in my personal experience, Kohler Kohler's craftsmanship and standard of quality is just, oh, I don't know, something that when I turned the handle of a Kohler, my first Kohler sink, I don't know, I absolutely fell in love, and I've never ever cared about like sink handles in my life. This could just be like a result of becoming 30. I've noticed that when people kind of cross that threshold, they become really interested in interior design and domestic activities. But, um, I really don't think it's just me. I think Kohler has a very stellar reputation in terms of its quality of product and standards. I'm also open to other brands as well, but to me, this has one. This, like, I feel about Kohler and how it functions the way that some people feel, and I feel about how um about what's it called? Volvo's safety in terms of the Volvo cars, yeah, safety, um, in terms of how it's carved its niche in the market compared to other car brands. So Volvo is very safe and it lasts a long time. Another thing that I'm considering is longevity, right? Because like economically speaking, I'm more of a buy it for life kind of girl when it comes to building something from the foundation up. So trying to think as much as like long term as possible. I love this design because there is a timeless classic look to it without too much embellishments. Um, like there was another collection in there in Kohler. Let me show you. Um, was it Studio McGee? Oh, it was Costia. So this is what I first looked at, which was very appealing to me. Like this is kind of in the general theme of where I'm going with the sinks, but I don't, I prefer not to have these initials engraved and this corrugated um surface. It reminds me of like pennies, or like it would be kind of rough to look at. Uh, so having this like these initials branded in, it's just I don't know. I don't think that would be. It's just not to. It's just not my preference for the museum design, unfortunately. Um, okay. Moving on to the bathroom sink design. What I've fallen in love with is the undermount sinks. And I found a good example of this, which is the Caxton undermount sink. I think it's an elegant way of making use of negative space, right? With kind of an inset into a surface as opposed to a bowl above the surface. If you could count the countertop as a surface, I think it follows the natural movement of one's hands when they go in to wash their hands under a faucet sink. It's like slightly more ergonomic. And I also really love the experience of like the curved, rounded edges. And I'm still quite set on like a white marble with gray veining or gold gray. I'm not sure. Or cool gray veining. And I've heard that Danby marble is quite is used as one of these types of marble. But that's I think Danby marble is sourced in like is it Vermont or Connecticut. It's in the northeast of the United States. So also Calicut marble, which is like Italian, I think, I believe, is a similar kind of marble. Okay. And white, obviously classic, but kind of considering, so there are some more artisanal sinks with like um decorations and embellishments built into the sink. And I'm thinking that could be interesting to use this kind of a design, which is inspired by constellations, astronomy, and astrology, on the surface. And before you think I'm crazy, let me show you an example of a similar sink. So this is an above, it's an overmount. It's a conical bell. Um, aha. The Empress Bouquet Vintage Undermount Sink. So it's this lovely design, delicate. Oop. Um, and these like embellishments inside. So the reason why I'm thinking something like this or this, like a dark midnight blue with gold detailing, is that this is serving as um w- the underside of the dome, of the white marble dome that I have envisioned or has been given to me by God or something greater than myself, I believe, on the underside of a white marble dome of the Materia Medica archive, which is going to be a round circular library um, that stores books in the physical space, as well as other collections. So So when a visitor walks in and looks up at the dome, they'll be able to see sort of like a representation of a starry night sky, but also have an impression of sacred geometry um, as well. So, and and this is what they'll see when they look up. But there's also a way for that, I don't know, a canopy to peel back. So there's an option for a skylight. So if in the natural daytime, um, there there exists a glass skylight for natural light to come in as an option. Um, so and maybe there can also be like a shade, a window shade. So that that will be that will pretty much conclude what I have for you today. I hope this was informative, helpful, inspiring. I will include a link to this Milanote board. Shout out to Milanote and Brett, who who pops up in my notifications in the bottom right hand corner here. Um, with helpful suggestions. I love Milanote. I found it while um, going on my architectural design journey and found this lovely video of this professional architect couple who had built a beautiful home. I believe they're from somewhere in Indonesia, but it was inspired by Frank Lloyd Wright's elements of, working with nature and um, other types of like warm materials. So I found Milano as a platform to start designing there, and I've loved it. I absolutely highly recommend this software. You can do it, you can start off for free. I know that it seems like the major complaints about if there's one big thing is that there's no way to purchase it uh if you want to purchase more space, you have to subscribe rather than doing a big bulk purchase, which is what some designers with a larger capacity might prefer. Um, but yeah, I personally find it very intuitive. So like you can create a board that you just click and point and click into the board. There's different templates available. It's so wonderful. So if you're a creative type, this might be something for you. And it's like you don't have to use it either. You could create your own schematic. I like to start off with a negative, I mean, not a negative space. Well, technically it is, but with a blank canvas and then kind of build up sometimes. Um, and see where I go from there. And there's options to add links and other types of media. I see you have a note here. Um, one of my favorite things is columns. You can like stack items in a note under a column. You add Um, you add, you can add text, you can have different text styles, colors, code block. Woo. There's just so much you can do with this that it's like the world is your oyster. Arrow for clarification. You know, yeah, I think it's pretty intuitive. Like there's not a lot of like hard coding knowledge needed um to to get started on here. Oop, let's see if I did draw. So I'm gonna use my finger because I have a touchscreen laptop. Hello world. Yeah. Okay. Had a lot of fun. Yeah, so that concludes this little presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and have a good Monday.